at the AlphaNorth Capital Conference, and I'm with Bob McWhirter. Bob, thank you so much for doing this interview with us.
You're very welcome.
Great. So tell us what brings you to the conference and what exciting stories you've heard so far.
This is my second year at the conference. It's a great opportunity to see a large number of companies in a very short period, almost like speed dating. So I get to meet 18 companies over 20-minute sessions each, and a huge opportunity to meet new companies as well as to get updates on existing companies that I'm either interested in or have investments in.
Which kinds of companies are you interested in and why?
Like most of your investors, ones that are hopefully going to go up. So some that basically have investments in that getting follow-ups on are Zecotech Systems or Photonics. They're doing some interesting stuff potentially on the PET medical scanner side. Others are Avivagen, which is a very interesting company targeting towards the replacement of antibiotics in animal feed. A couple of others are Eurocontrol, which has been very successful in selling one of their divisions to a Swiss company. They're very optimistic about the success on that, but they also have a very interesting testing and measurement portion on the semiconductor side, and they actually have a couple of prototypes that are now in demonstration phase. They're talking to a couple of Asian customers as potential orders. Pyrogenesis, they have extremely high temperature plasma torches, and one of the opportunities is to follow up on something they were doing about 3 or 4 years ago, which is to make extremely precise titanium balls or spheres. They have a client in the Far East that's interested in this application, using one of their devices to produce titanium for wires to be used in 3D printing. They've also announced a recent contract with the U.S. military for the destruction of nasty chemicals and agents.
And in 2016, for the benefit of new viewers, what are some things to look for in companies that promise success?
Well, the challenge is, as you've described, unfortunately, a lot of companies do promise success, and all entrepreneurs are optimistic. The challenge becomes one of saying, okay, is it now finally the sweet spot where they've gone through the development of the product and can then move on to the sales? There are a couple of companies here that I think are now reaching that phase after 5 to 7 years worth of literally tough sledding.
Right. And as an investor, are there some pieces of advice you can give for other investors?
Well, number one, in the current market, make sure that you have a solid stop loss in place, because at the moment, regardless of, in many cases, the quality of the company or their success, unfortunately, most stocks are being marked down. The trick becomes one of distinguishing between the good companies and the bad ones. Unfortunately, a lot of small cap companies are lamenting about the decline in their stock prices, and that then presents great opportunities for investors. The kind of opportunities for picking the companies are usually an increase in sales, hopefully an expansion of margins, longer term an increase in free cash flow, which as I describe is like shoebox accounting. You open up the shoebox at the end of each quarter, and hopefully there's more cash there. A lot of these companies are still haven't yet achieved profitability, but they're usually achieving pretty good increases in sales, and then you should be looking at a potential enterprise value to sales or price to sales ratio, and also converting that into the equivalent of a PE to growth equivalent, which is you look at how much you're paying, enterprise value to sales, how much is the sales growing, and then saying, okay, if that is less than 1, and in many cases less than a half, then you usually got a small cap company that is growing quite well. So a company that's not here today, which is Memex, a very interesting factory automation kind of software company, appears to be relatively expensive on a enterprise value to sales basis, but their sales are up 143% year over year. You do the two calculations in a combination, the stock appears to be very reasonably priced. Particularly when you look out 2 years, I think the opportunity that they have to bring automation to the shop floor is quite attractive. So it's been a great opportunity to talk to these companies and to end up basically finding out what their plans are over the coming year.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
This has been the AlphaNorth Capital Conference, and I'm Rachel Lee for Small Cap Power.